It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Aaron Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Welcome back to another episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive. I am Zachary Smith, and he's here. You heard Brandon Rossi's voice, which means you know he is back in the saddle. Aaron Saunders, back on the pod. How we doing, Alan?
I mean, really, Brandon being back is almost as important
as
me being back, right? Like, it's really, it makes the intro makes the whole show. We've said it before. We'll say it again.
Listen, last week, not making the guys feel bad while they were on here about it. Every time that I started a podcast and it finished the intro, I just said, you know what? It doesn't hit the same. Like, it's nothing to do with you guys here. But it's just not the same if you don't have Brandon Rossi's voice accompanying the music. But appreciate those guys, Aaron, Job, Brennan, and DB, all for pitching in last week.
How Job and Brennan do? You know, I will say this. I talked to Brennan today. We had a meeting, and he said, "Did you get a chance to watch the podcast? While you're on vacation?" I said, "No," and then I said, let me rephrase that. I had the chance. I just didn't. I was trying to be on vacation. So I didn't watch. I didn't read the comments. How'd the boys do?
I thought really well. I think Brendan was definitely most worried about it. Like, he was texting me on Tuesday night, like trying to make sure he had every I dotted and T crossed on his end, like wanted me to send the link early so he can make sure that he got in the room. And I guess he does a little podcast or whatever, or he has done a podcast in the past with the other stuff that he does, but nothing of this. And like, he was worried about like the exposure, how he would do in front of a camera and stuff like that. But I think he was good both days, but certainly I think the second day that he was on here, you could tell he felt even more comfortable just within 24 hours later. Job, I thought, did really well. Honestly, the one critique that we got from the comments and stuff about Job was, his background thrown together. He just like threw up a couple jerseys in the background, and people didn't feel like that was necessary, and they were too distracting to what he had going on. So nothing to do with the way that he did in the podcast, everything. So I thought those guys were great.
All right. Good to hear it. Brennan is going to be joining me for almost all of training camp. Mm-hmm. So you guys will be getting more of them here on the YouTube channel. So I hope you liked them because you're stuck with them. And we got some new stuff. I had 2 meetings today. That was one of them. Mm-hmm. It's always good when you get back from vacation and you bring up your calendar for the first day. 2 meetings and 4 podcasts. That's what I got today. So it's just been, I haven't shut up since I woke up this morning, and I've got like 2 more hours to go. It's going to be great. But we got some more new stuff coming here on the channel. So, and some of that new stuff is going to involve Job, I think, as well. He's been chomping at the bit. He wants to do some stuff. So as we get into the season, we're going to add a little bit more to the repertoire here on the Steelers Now YouTube page and Steelers Now podcast feed. So keep an eye out.
All right, well, hey, I'm also, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. So just like everybody else watching, listening to this podcast, I will be looking forward to hearing about this as well and seeing what more we can provide. But don't miss any of it. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell right here on the channel so you do not. Anyways, Alan, miss talking to you every day while you were gone talking about football. Obviously love talking to those guys, but I always look forward to our conversations. And this week, with you coming back, we're jumping right into training camp conversation. It is the week the Steelers report to training camp in a couple days here. And anybody that's an SN Plus subscriber will also get, right after this, me, Alan, DB, doing a live stream over there as well, talking about a lot of stuff here. I'm sure as you guys will have questions talking about this, but I just kind of wanted to start off asking, like, as we go into this week, what's on your mind? What are you looking forward to, whether it's specific players, whether it's like a storyline that you think is kind of looming over and seeing how it plays out? I think there's a lot to be said here when you talk about like the amount of roster turnover that this team has had. So like, at the forefront of all of this, what's on your mind with this team right now?
The biggest thing that's on my mind is like a nice 90 degree practice day, leave the field there at St. Vincent College completely covered in sweat, do my work, get to Sharky's, get that first Icy Light mango, That's really what's on my mind. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, when I think of like what am I looking forward to at training camp, that's got to be way up there. I love training camp, man. Someone just asked me like, do you dread this? Like how like I'm like I love this. It's just it's football day and night for me. So I eat it up, drink it up sometimes. I think this team is going to be really interesting this summer. I think I'm really looking forward to a bunch of different stuff, man. I don't even know where to start. I guess we'll start with the quarterback. I want to get to know Aaron Rodgers. Like I want to like build a relationship with him. I want to get to know him. I mean, we talked to him once. It's you have one conversation with a guy. You can come up with some first impressions, sure, but it's hard to really know what a person's like. I think by the end of training camp, we'll have a better idea. I want to see him run the offense. We didn't get to do that at OTAs. I don't know how much he's going to do, especially early at training camp. He is 41. He doesn't have a lot to prove out there. But I just want to see him in the offense and see how things look with him out there. I want to see how different the offense is, how much Arthur Smith is going to adapt to Aaron Rodgers and vice versa. I think that's a big question that we don't know the answer to. Man, like so much. What happens at wide receiver outside of DK Metcalf? How do they work Jonnu Smith into the mix? Broderick Jones at left tackle.
Sure.
Is this a competition between Jaylen Warren and Caleb Johnson? If it is, like this is when it starts. And that's just the offense, man. Like there's like
yeah.
How does Jalen Ramsey fit in? I want to get to know Darius Slay better. That there's a ton. And then, when was the last time the Steelers went to training camp? And like of all the storylines you could talk about, how the first round pick does, like barely rates.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Like it's like Derek Harmon is like so far down the list. And that's not anything negative about him. It's just that so much other stuff is new that has happened this offseason that I feel like, honestly, Harmon's like kind of been overshadowed a little bit.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I was sitting there going, because you were saying a lot of things that you were saying there were on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm like trying to think of things from the defensive side. And like I was like, oh yeah, they spent their first round pick on defense. It didn't that wasn't even where my mind would go to right away. Honestly, like we talked about it before. But I'm curious about this like 3-down role for Payton Wilson. Like if that's going to be a thing or how long that's going to stick, and kind of just sticking with the Payton Wilson thing. Like obviously it's his second year, but Roman Wilson on the other side of that and Troy Fautanu, really like second year rookies basically for them. And they're going to be very important pieces for what this team's going to do. So I just think about the 2024 class in general. You mentioned Jalen Ramsey and, Darius Slay. When I looked at that cornerback group, like when they're in team period, who's getting that DK Metcalf assignment early? Like who's going to be the first one? Is it going to be Joey?
It's got to be Joey.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way that I would go.
Mini camp. And I get a feeling that is going to be one of the big matchups of training camp. Is like, I think the things that are going to get the oohs and ahs from the crowd are going to be those two going head to head for sure. That's one of them.
Yeah. You see, I think the same way. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, but it's definitely something that popped in my mind where it's like when you look at the talent that they have in the corner room, man, like I'd like to see all those guys get their cracks at him, but who's going to be the first one when they're in team period? So, honestly, the running back thing, I hadn't even like given much consideration out of the gate. We actually had a question about that on Friday that we discussed briefly, but I guess we could get your take on this too, like how we feel like the timeshare is going to go early. Like, don't get me wrong, I have high expectations for Caleb Johnson, like long term, but he's got to answer some questions about his ability to do some things within Arthur Smith's offense, right? Like we know what Jaylen Warren can do and how well he fits what Arthur Smith wants to do. So while I think that Caleb Johnson can be a guy that it adds more to the passing game than he did in college, and while I think the pass pro is going to get there, we know what Jaylen Warren brings in those two areas.
And like Jaylen Warren's a heck of a running back too. Like
sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It would not surprise me if Jaylen Warren goes out and earns a significant share of these carries. Like that would not shock me. And I think Caleb Johnson's a really good player and was a really good pick. I just think Jaylen Warren's really good. If Caleb Johnson's taking reps away from Jaylen Warren on first and second down, I don't think Let me say this. I don't think it's possible for him to take reps away from Jaylen Warren on third down. Jaylen Warren is an incredible third down back, and you also have Kenny Gainwell, who's going to play some on third down.
Sure.
But if he's taking reps away from Jaylen Warren on first and second down, that means he's playing really, really well. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that. And it's exciting. It's exciting.
So the reason that I said those two, so I probably could have worded that better, because absolutely I love what Jaylen Warren can bring as a running back too. I guess my point of saying that was there's certain things about playing the running back position, such as pass pro, where like you kind of need to earn the coach's trust to even be on the field. Like that was the only reason I was saying that.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to play in the 2-minute drill if you can't pass pro. You're not going to play on third and long if you can't pass pro. I think Caleb Johnson can pass block. But the issue is, no matter if Caleb Johnson's a very good pass blocker, he's still going to be the third best receiving running. Heck, if Cordell Patterson's on the field, he'll be the fourth on the team. He'll be the fourth best receiving running back. So why would you play him in those areas? You know, I think in obvious passing situations, someone else is going to be on the field, almost no matter what. All those guys are better receivers than he is. But he can earn some first and second down snaps. And if he does, he's going to have to play pretty freaking well to earn them, because I think Jaylen Warren's going to come out and really be very motivated to show that he's always been capable of doing this. And I think that's going to be one of the more exciting. I don't know if I'm ready to call it a battle, but like in terms of like positions to watch, especially when the pads go on, that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not just to the Steelers, but like Jaylen Warren obviously has something to prove to whether it's the Steelers or somebody else in terms of earning a contract going forward. I mean, I know it's a 3rd round pick, but the Steelers' 2nd pick that they had was spent on a running back, and you know, you want to prove your keep or prove it to somebody else that you're able to take on a larger workload than you've been asked to do for the Steelers, you know, in your tenure so far. So yeah, I'm definitely excited about that. I know that you just mentioned you don't necessarily want to call it a battle right now, and DB wrote something on the site, so go check that out in terms of battle. So I know you didn't want to spend too much time on that and take away from the article and regurgitate, but is there at least one that is definitely on your mind?
I mean, I think the thing that's, I don't know, it's not a 1-to-1-to-1 battle, but like between Juan Thornhill, Jalen Ramsey, and Beanie Bishop, how do the snaps play out at free safety and at slot corner? The 3 of those guys are going to take most of those snaps. I'm sure of that. But how does it play out? Is it Ramsey in the slot all the time? Thornhill is a full-time starter? Is Ramsey bouncing around and Thornhill's a part-time player? Or is Beanie full-time in the slot and Ramsey's a full-time free safety? I think all of those are viable options, and I don't think we really have any idea how it's going to play out.
Yeah, in my mind goes to the defense as well, and I know I'm going to be talking a lot about this group, but the off-ball linebacker group I think is so intriguing to me, because there's like 6 guys there that could be on the NFL roster. That's obviously not going to be the case in my opinion, but like you obviously got Patrick Queen there, 2nd year, Payton Wilson, you got Cole Holcomb coming back from his injury, and I mean just like physically, man, he looks jacked up. They brought in Malik Harrison, obviously. Mark Robinson made a ton of plays on special teams last year. Spent a 7th round pick on Carson Bruner. So like I'm just so intrigued by that group, and not just like he was going to make the roster, but that's the reason I mentioned the Payton Wilson 3-down role earlier, is like how that is going to shake out. So not just who makes the roster, but what roles they play while making the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Payton will, like, I don't know about like 3 down. I don't think he's gonna replace Patrick Queen in the dime. But like, I think I don't think there's a replacement for a Landon Roberts in terms of like an every down play. I mean, Malik Harrison is the replacement, but I don't think he's gonna start. Like, I think you're gonna see a lot of Payton Wilson.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other one that I kind of think about here, and it's not necessarily like at the top battle, but we've mentioned this at least briefly on here before, where we kind of feel like the defensive line is the offensive line group from last year, where there very well could be like an NFL player that doesn't make the team from there. So like that's going to be an interesting one for me. Like, is it a Dean Lowry or somebody like that's on the outs here?
Linebacker too. I think linebacker and D line there are going to be, and edge. I mean, I think all 3 of those places there will probably be NFL players cut from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, speaking of edge, obviously with you not around last week on the pod, TJ Watt signed his extension, and we dedicated an entire episode to talk about that. So I don't want to ask you about that aspect, but just in terms of like the training camp usage, if you will, do you think he's going to do much of anything now that he's not going to be holding in and he is signed an extension, or what's your thought on that?
I mean, I think he'll get the usual veteran training camp treatment, show up, stretch, 7 shots, go hang out by the water cooler for a while. Like he'll get the reps he needs to get, which is not very many. I am interested to see if they do some different things schematically with him. Although I will say, I don't know how willing they're going to be. Like if they have some big surprise in that regard, why unveil it in front of 10,000 people at St. Vincent College? Just because it doesn't happen in Latrobe doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I can see them hanging on to a few things for that last week of the preseason when they're back at the South Side.
Like, this is just obviously me as a fan saying this to see it one time. Don't do it at all before or after this. Just the Friday Night Lights practice.
There you go.
That's the only time I see it.
They have done that in the past. Like that last week will be like sort of special packages kind of thing get put in. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see some of that. I'd like to see a little more Brandon Eccles. Didn't get to see a lot of him in the in OTAs and minicamp. I want to see him play a little slot, see how that goes. Maybe he's the dime corner. I don't know. Him or Beanie, probably.
Okay.
Man, there's a lot to look forward to on the field.
You mentioned this is a stupid question, meaning silly. You mentioned like TJ being like water cooler and stuff like that. It kind of my mind went to the special teams guys. What does a special teams players training camp practice look like?
I mean, I don't watch the specialists a lot at training camp because they have their own.
I guess just special teams.
They're not
like Boswell, Kuntz. Yeah, the Punter.
Yeah. The specialists. They're not like where I am. So that's a good question. Sometimes they go down to the lower field and practice. Sometimes they go to the third field and practice. They mostly just hang out. Usually they have a couple things they want to work on. Boswell does not kick hardly at all throughout all training camp. That's been his thing for a couple of years now. It seems like Cam Johnson does like to kick more. Okay. Kuntz will snap for whoever wants to snap. And then they kind of hang out with Danny Smith and get ready for the special teams periods. I think when we were talking to Christian Kuntz when he was on the podcast, I think people think that special teams is like a break, but it's, those guys come in with a lot of energy and, it's Kuntz and then the guys like Killebrew and Skoranek and, those people that are really running those practices, and they're like intense. There's a lot of information being passed in a very short time. So those special teams periods come through. There's about 3 of them. And then, they're just hanging out on the sideline like everyone else at the end of practice.
You mentioned Cam Johnson. I want to get your thought on this. Do you think it's going to be a legit competition between him and Corliss Waitman? Or do you think that salary's going to kind of give Johnston the job there? I
think the competition is just Cameron Johnston proving that he is back to himself and still worth that salary. He's being paid pretty well for a punter. Mm-hmm. They don't need to pay him that if he's not the same guy was before. And so I think that is the competition is just, is he all right? Okay. If he's all right, if he's back to what he was, then I don't think there is a real one.
Could Corliss Waitman be another Braden Mann situation here, potentially?
100%, yeah. So it was really good last year. I thought one bad punt against Cleveland ended up costing the game, but man, I think overall he was really good. He's been really good before, too. It's not like it was some fluke. And I thought his holding got a lot better. That was sort of the knock on him when he first got in the league back in 2020. So he wasn't a very good holder. Boss was great last year. There was no holding issues all season, as far as I can remember. So, yeah, I think there's a possibility Corliss Waitman is on another team this year if he doesn't make the Steelers.
I think now after you said, either I'm having deja vu, or we talked about the holding thing last year, like when Johnston got hurt, that being an underrated thing to watch with Waitman was what the holding was going to be like. So yeah, I've been a fan of his for sure. I hope that he's able to latch on somewhere else if it's not going to be here, and hopefully Cam Johnston is back to himself. Anything else before we dive into a couple questions here? What's on your mind?
No, I just want to throw out a little thank you for holding the fort down while I was gone. Seems like
to me,
you didn't burn the place down. You didn't break anything. You got over 16,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
So there you
hit
go.
the milestone. Yeah.
Let's get to some questions.
We can't reveal that number right now, but yeah, we went over 16.
We'll
you know what's funny though, Alan, is like I think a lot of people like they obviously watch or listen to this podcast if they're watching or listening right now, but they might not have known about the other one that I've been doing since 2017. So it's kind of just like thinking that maybe I'm still relatively new to this. I'm true to this.
You're the one of this partnership that knows what he's doing, not me. I would.
Yeah, I was, like going through the comments, it was kind of funny because people were like making it seem like they were surprised by the fact that I was able to still do the podcast without you here. But yeah, thank you. It was a lot of fun, but it's definitely good to have you back. Yeah, we didn't get to some questions I put out for on Friday with me and DB, and anytime DB's on, we get flooded with them. So still obviously have some left over here. But my guy Cliff the Dark Knight said, with TJ now signed, you look at his contract going through 2028, Highsmith through 2027. What do you guys think about Herbig and his fate? Do you think that he still is potentially going to get a second contract here? Would hate to see him go after 2026. Would he be a trade candidate, or what's our thoughts on him long term?
I appreciate this line of thinking, but like it's so far away that I don't think anyone can really give it a good answer. I mean, he's not a free agent until March of 2027. A whole heck of a lot can happen between now and then. The Steelers are not making plans for individual linebackers 2 years from now. Figure it out when they get there. The path will tell them what they need to do or what they don't need to do. I don't really think it serves any purpose to anyone to even really like just like think of like what a plan might be at this point. Here's what I'll say is that Nick Herbig is one of the smallest edge rushers in the league. I think this is a role that he's very well suited for. I don't think that he's a player that teams would be beating down the door to get as a starter. Not right now. We'll see if things change over the next 2 years. And also, I don't. Did this question mention Sawyer? I don't think it did. No, I think a lot of people
I would say kind of add on
to are kind of lumping Sawyer in there. It's like, guys, Jack Sawyer's a 4th round draft pick. There's like a 40% chance he's never going to play a snap in the NFL. Like, I like the pick, but like, including a 4th round pick in your future plans is very dangerous. Just probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you talk about, Nick Herbig's future, that being a decision that's so far down the line. Like, even if it doesn't seem like it right now, it is because of how much can happen in the NFL in that period of time. Like, Sawyer even further removed from that and what his future could be. I think that the better question, honestly, and again, like, I don't want to change it here, is could Sawyer end up being the adequate replacement where it does make sense to just let Herbig walk or whatever like that? But like, to me,
that's possible, sure.
Yeah.
There's many. I mean, it's possible that Herbig is so good as the number 3 that the Steelers just will not possibly be able to afford him and that he will go sign as a starter somewhere else. That's possible. It's possible that Sawyer is the better player and the Steelers won't want to keep Herbig. And I mean, there's a whole world of possibilities.
Sounds like a good problem to have.
Yeah. Like there's a whole world of possibility in between those two. So, I mean, I think,
and if you get to that point,
the thing about Herbig is you have to remember a good percentage of the league is playing four-man front. They are not going to want a defensive end his size. So, like, I think people are like looking at this like, oh my gosh, now the Steelers are going to lose Herbig because there's like, yeah, just I don't see like a arms race where people are just rushing to get their hands on Nick Herbig in 2 years. and the Steelers are going to be mad that they signed T.J. Watt and they can't keep him. Like that is one of the scenarios, but I wouldn't call it like a likely one.
One of the scenarios of all time. I mean, yeah, you look at the way that the Steelers roster as a whole is transformed and look at how fast things happen in the NFL. Like it is very hard to, as a massive fan of Nick Herbig, this is something that I can't lie, has definitely like, I've thought about not necessarily the Watt and Highsmith aspects of this, but just like Nick Herbig's future here. It has played into my mind, but I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. Makes no sense to really give it much of a thought right now. Something that we talked about though, and people hate when DB and I do this, Alan. So I'm gonna make you basically say the same thing as us, and then people can hate you as well.
Yeah, bring it up. Give me the hate.
We got a comment on Friday's episode that this person cannot stand when DB and I say that the team is not Super Bowl contenders because we don't know that. Now, okay, fair enough. But Richie here, and this isn't the person that said that comment, but Richie's question very much plays into that. As always, love the pod. Can we talk about why the Steelers aren't Super Bowl contenders? ? The defense is good at every level, in my opinion. Offensively, believe they have a top 3 tight end group. If they grab a Jennings type as a wide receiver 2, that's a solid group. Potential of the running back group, experienced quarterback. Obviously, the offensive line needs to play well, and that's a massive question, but say that they do. Special teams group, top 5. I know I'm a homer, but this is the most excited I've been since the Killer Bee era.
So the Steelers are plus 4,200 to win the Super Bowl right now, according to FanDuel Sportsbook. 4 times in 59 years, a team with odds that low preseason odds that low has turned out to be the Super Bowl winner. So clearly it is possible. Also, clearly, it is not likely or even remotely realistic. They are the 3rd best team in their own division by almost every metric, and not even more likely than not to make the playoffs. They are underdogs to make the playoffs right now. So, yeah, that's not a realistic Super Bowl contender. Anything can happen, but I wouldn't bet on it. Clearly, neither would anybody else, or the odds would be different. What was the second part of that question?
I mean, I don't know that there was a second part.
Oh, what are they missing? Why? Yeah, I mean, quarterback. I mean, Aaron Rodgers wasn't very good last year. He wasn't overwhelmingly good before the injury in his last year in Green Bay. That's a long time to have faith that level of production is coming back. I really don't understand why. I mean, I think the Steelers should be favorites to win the playoffs, and I think they should have, like, the win total is still 8.5. I think that's free money, personally. I don't see how they could be worse than last year. I think they improved in a number of ways. We'll see. I mean, injuries can happen. There's always uncertainty. But on paper, they look better than last year, and the schedule looks a little bit easier. So I think that should be like a good recipe for them to get to 10 or 11 wins. But even 10 or 11 wins, you would not consider a true Super Bowl contender very often. But I think the big part of it is just the quarterback. I mean, most of what wins in the NFL is your quarterback. We've seen the Eagles do it differently. I don't think the Steelers roster is anywhere near the quality of the Philadelphia Eagles right now. In terms of like 1 through 22 starters and backups, like they got a lot of holes that the Eagles didn't have last year that allowed them to win a Super Bowl with a guy like Jalen Hurts. I don't think there's really, I mean, if you put Joe Burrow on the Steelers, they're a Super Bowl contender. You know, I had a conversation on Twitter the other day. It's like, why do the Bengals have hype? And it's like, because Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. Like, if you're building a franchise and you're like, okay, I need the parts to a Super Bowl contender, but I can either have Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase, or all of the rest of the parts. I would rather take just those 3 guys. Like, would you rather have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, or all of the Eagles without A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts? That's basically the question. Like, give me the Bengals every time. That's the harder thing to find.
Yeah, well, and that's why it's incredible that that team did not make the playoffs last year, and arguably going to be worse on defense even than they were last year. Depending on how the Trey Hendricks thing goes.
He's going to sign, by the way.
I believe so too. Yeah, I mean, it certainly sounds like it's going.
Mike Brown was quoted, giving optimistic thoughts, and that's going to happen. The first round pick's going to sign too. I don't, I think the Bengals defense
and how much
better this year than last year.
And how much difference will it make going from Louis Anarumo to Al Golden, who was very good with Notre Dame, but I'm curious to see.
I don't know if Al Golden's some kind of great hire, but I think Lou really was having a bad time there. I think just the DC change there should improve things.
And then, just the last thing that I wanted to say about this, just to kind of give my take, like a lot of things that Richie said here were kind of like ifs, if this happens. And that goes back to a point that I made a couple weeks ago with like just the way that I feel about the state of things is there's a lot of ifs there. It's, to me, would be silly to think they're all going to go in a positive direction. Like they need so many things to be on the positive side of if, for me to feel that good about it, like they are a Super Bowl contender. Like, yeah, if Roman Wilson ends up being a wide receiver too, if Troy Fautanu ends up being the player that we think he can be, and if Broderick Jones makes a successful move over to left tackle, and if there's just too many ifs for me to feel good about it on paper going into the season. When I say good about it, I mean as Super Bowl contenders. I think right now I would predict that they are going to be a playoff team.
I would too. I think they're a playoff team. I think they'll be better than the odds makers think they will be, but I don't think they're a real Super Bowl contender. I cannot see them going into Kansas City, going into Buffalo, going into Baltimore in January and winning more than one of those games, because that's probably what's going to have to happen for them to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that seems very far-fetched. Can they get lucky? Sure. I mean, look, Lamar gets hurt. The Bengals defensive changes don't work. Steelers turn out to be the best team in the North. They win 12 games. They draw a very mediocre, I don't know, Jacksonville team that sneaks in or something as the number 2 seed and win at home. And then, they get to play whatever Kansas City at home, and Travis Kelce's hurt and they finally beat Mahomes. I don't know. Like, is that path possible? Yeah, it's just, it's not very realistic.
Yeah, how can we predict that in July? So,
although if that exact scenario happens,
yeah, absolutely.
Credit here.
Yeah, 100%. Anyways, Alan, good stuff as always. Look forward to this and going through the rest of the week, getting everybody ready for training camp, and then you actually being obviously boots on the ground for training camp. But as we work through all of this, until tomorrow, tell the people they can find you.
Saunders _PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now is the site's account. SteelersNow.com. Go there. Sign up for SN Plus. We're having the SN Plus July subscribers only live stream right now. If you're listening to this, it is starting right now. In fact, if you're listening to this, it is probably mostly over. But you can go back and listen to it. You just go over to SteelersNow.com. Click on the link for the live stream. There's a link to subscribe. You can also click on the menu in the top right. You also get ad-free reading experience at SteelersNow.com, which is awesome. And also the best content from me, DB, and the rest of the Steelers Now team. And of course,
2 new shout-outs.
Oh, yeah, 2 new shout-outs right there across the bottom.
David Rosenberg and Henry Lentz.
There we go. Welcome. Appreciate it. Both of you gentlemen. And, of course, anyone can subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel. Helps us grow and reach a bigger audience, as we're always trying to do. We have 16,000. Smitty passed the mark without me. And 9 subscribers. I'm gonna go ahead and pass this one over to you, because that's a tricky one.
Yeah, I feel like we've had it before, because my mind goes to my guy Daniel Sepulveda.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because that obviously can't be Boz, current Steeler. Ideally, we don't want to use the current one. Yeah, so I'd say Sepulveda, and I feel like I might have used that before, but oh well.
I think you did, and I think I also used Brad Wing. He was 9 his first stint with the Steelers. Then when he came back, I think he was 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, like way back, Matt Barr, the kicker for the 70s Steelers Super Bowl champs.
I feel like there haven't been a lot of 9s. I mean, I don't have the list in front of me, obviously, but like at least memorable. Like I'm having trouble thinking of any other.
It also always like appreciated me. Like I always appreciated that Roy Gorella was the punter, and so the kicker and the punter were 9 and 10. I thought that was kind of cool. But they were like back, like that. Those guys are back to back. I wear number 9 when I play sports and get the opportunity to. So very good number today.
Okay. Well, there you go. That should have been the number, the name that you picked then.
Me,
Alan Saunders, when he
and Maz, which is why I started wearing 9 when I played Little League.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah.
Well, now we know why you wear number 9. Let us know your favorite number 9. If you, again, not necessarily the richest tradition in Steelers history, but let us know on that in the comments.
Couple of punters, man. That's all you got. No quarterbacks, right? I mean, none.
That's what I was thinking.
I know of. That's a bit strange. It's not a very good quarterback number. In fact, I'm having a hard time thinking of a lot of quarterbacks.
Stafford, Romo,
Steve McNair.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but not a lot of quarterbacks wearing number 9 out there.
Breeze was 9.
Breeze is a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Nick Foles. Eagles
legend.
Thing. Yeah. Oh, Joe Burrow.
All right. Yeah, there you go. We just talked about him. There you go.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling people in the comments that's not going to be their favorite number 9. So, hit us with questions, obviously, as we always do. Thoughts on anything that we talked about today, all that good stuff. If you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from, use a 5-star review and subscribe over there. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive. Do the same thing on TikTok, and then you'll find me everywhere. Zachary Smith, PGH, for Alan Saunders and myself. Thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.